Hey there, welcome back. My name is Katie and this is Louisiana Cooking and Living. If you're new to my channel, we welcome you too. And it is time for a pantry restock. If you can see all these jars across the counter, we are going to be doing some canning today. We're going to divide up into 4 videos, but there are things that I need to get on my pantry shelf because I'm out of it. We need to make some spaghetti sauce, some chicken broth. I have some ham broth, shrimp broth, and beef broth on my shelf, but I don't have any chicken broth. So in this pot over here, I have some chicken bones going, and let's see, some strawberry preserves and some pinto beans. So today we're going to get started with making our spaghetti sauce because it's going to take the longest for me to simmer. I have some tomatoes from the garden that have been in the freezer, and then I also have some canned tomatoes. So this is going to be a combination of fresh garden tomatoes and canned. So I have a couple of spaghetti sauce videos out, one using totally garden fresh tomatoes and one using totally canned tomatoes. So you can do spaghetti sauce anyway, depending on what you have. You don't have to be limited to just having garden tomatoes. You can use canned tomatoes. I do get, let's see if you can see them right here, these organic San Marzano tomatoes. I get them off of Amazon. I can leave them linked in the description box. They are organic, and I also like that their aluminum cans are lined with some coating so that the aluminum doesn't leach out into the tomato product because it's so acidic. It could cause the aluminum to break down. So we're going to get started. I have kind of roughly chopped about one very large onion, or about an onion and a half, and we're going to get over to the stove and we're going to saute our veggies in some olive oil, and then we'll get, well, actually I have the tomatoes already in the pot. I might need to take those out then because we need to get our veggies sauteing first. So let's move over to the stove and we'll get started. All right, so these are the few homegrown tomatoes I had left in my freezer. So I'll pull these out. Like I said, I was trying to get them to start cooking down since these are going to take longer. Let me pull these out. I'm going to turn my burner up on high to reduce this water in here. And hopefully get this water evaporated, and then I'll add my onions and some olive oil. Just a little tip, when you are moving your vegetables or whatever it is off your cutting board, use the back of your knife, not the blade of your knife, because if you do this, it dulls your knife and then it also scrapes your board. So turn it over and use the back of your knife. All right. You can add some olive oil to this. Olive oil gives your spaghetti sauce a great flavor. To this, I'm also going to add some freeze-dried garlic. You could use fresh garlic, garlic powder, jarred garlic, whatever it is, but I have some freeze-dried garlic here. And I actually freeze-dried this with you guys just recently. I can leave that video linked. I love quite a bit of garlic in my food, especially my pasta sauce. And actually I'll leave my canning and food preservation videos linked at the end of this video so that you can check out many more canning projects or food preservation projects that you'd like to, if you're interested in watching those also. All right, I'm just looking to soften these. I don't want to brown them or anything. I just want to soften them up. We're going to end up using the immersion blender to blend all these tomatoes up. So I just need to soften these is all I need to do right now. All right, I'm going to add these tomatoes back in with their liquid. And then I'm also going to add, this is the tomatoes I was talking about, this brand. They sell this brand at the grocery store also. I just find these organic ones cheaper on Amazon. This is the lining I was talking about. You can see that it protects the tomatoes from the aluminum. And these tomatoes also come with fresh basil in here. So San Marzano tomato is a paste tomato, like a Roma tomato. It has a less water content in it, so less cooking down you have to do when you're making a sauce. So I'm using 6 of these cans, and these are 28 ounces. And then I had those couple of handfuls of tomatoes also. And this will probably, hopefully, give us about 6 quarts of spaghetti sauce. All right, to this we're going to add some more basil, some oregano, and then some crushed red pepper flakes. If you don't want the spicy, you can leave those out. You can add some salt to it. All right, for these 6 cans and handful or 2 of tomatoes, I'm doing about 1 large onion, it may have been 1.5 onions, about a half a cup of garlic, maybe a little less or more depending on your garlic taste, a couple of tablespoons of red pepper flakes, a couple of tablespoons of oregano, 5 to 6 tablespoons of salt, depending on your salt level. Now, I do use Redmond real salt, which isn't as salty as like a table salt, I find. So I might use, this is all to your taste anyway. That's just kind of giving you some estimates on where to go from. But I do have a discount code in the description box for the Redmond real salt if you're interested in checking that out. Let's see. About a tablespoon of basil, and then we're going to put about 1/4 cup of sugar in here. I don't like my spaghetti sauce sweet, but I also don't like it very acidic, so I do use the sugar to cut that acid. Something you could try, and if you check out my canning playlist that I'll leave at the end of this video, I made some barbecue sauce and canned it, and it was too acidic for me, but I didn't want to add a bunch of sugar to it, and I added baking soda to it. I remembered back to my chemistry days, and I knew the baking soda would neutralize the acid, so I added that to the barbecue sauce, and it worked perfectly. So you could maybe try baking soda in spaghetti sauce. I've never tried that. I've always done the sugar, 1/4 cup of sugar, and this should give us, like I said, about 5 quarts or 6 quarts of spaghetti sauce. I think 1/4 cup of sugar spread out through all that is pretty good. All right, we're gonna let this simmer for a little while because I do have those tomatoes that are in there that need to kind of simmer down a little bit. And we will come back when it's time to give this a whirl with the immersion blender. And we'll get this jarred up. And this is a water bath canning process. And we'll be back. All right, it looks like it's time to hit this with the immersion blender. This has been simmering for about 30 minutes. You could always use a potato masher. You could do batches in the regular blender. I just find the immersion blender works best for something like this. You want to be very careful not to lift it too high because you might splatter the hot liquid. You want to keep it vertical. And let's get started. Let's see. It's that easy. It smells like an Italian restaurant in here. All right, I'm gonna see if there's any big tomatoes left in here. And then we'll give this a taste. Look, see if there's any more, kind of put them together. All right. Check it out again. All right, everything looks good. We'll give this a taste test. You always want to taste and adjust your seasonings because when you open your jar, you want it ready to go. All right. I think earlier when I told you about 5 tablespoons of salt, I didn't do quite that, so I'm gonna add a little bit more. I can tell it needs it. And I can tell we need just a tad more sugar. That was less than 1/8 of a cup more sugar there. That was a 1/4 cup scoop and it wasn't even half of it. I know some people kind of get upset about sugar, but like I said, I'm not trying to have a sweet sauce here. I'm just trying to cut the acid. I think I'm going to add some garlic powder to this. The spice is good. I don't know why, but some things I just like to add fresh garlic and garlic powder. So I'm going to get that. I think I'm going to add some more oregano. Give this another stir. One more little taste. All right, that's good. All right, we're gonna get our jars together so we can get this canned up. All right, we're gonna get this jarred up in our jars. I like to do my spaghetti sauce in pint jars and quart-sized jars because the pint jars I will use for like pizza sauce or when I'm making a vodka sauce. And then the quart-sized jars, of course, when I'm making like a spaghetti or lasagna or something like that. So I like to have a variety of sizes of jars on my shelf. For those reasons. All right, let me get these jarred up and then we're gonna wipe our rims with some vinegar on a paper towel. And these will be ready for our water bath canner. I'm gonna consult my ball canning cookbook for my cook times or my water bath times. I know that my recipe is very similar to the ball recipe, so I know I can go by their canning guidelines. All right, let me get this jarred up and then we will be back. All right, I consulted the ball canning cookbook. Yes. And it's on page 362 is their tomato sauce, spaghetti sauce, marinara, whatever you want to call it. And it is, let me look again. We are going to water bath process this for 35 minutes. So I have my canner here. I have put some water in it. I have a trivet in the bottom of it. And I have my burner on high. We're going to put our jars of sauce in here. We're going to want to cover our jars with about 2 to 3 inches of water. I'll probably have to add more water to this. I wasn't sure how much space the jars would take up and displace the water. So we're going to put all of our jars in here. We'll bring this to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, we'll process it. We'll start our timer for 35 minutes. And once it finishes boiling, or finishes the timer, we will turn our burner off and leave these sitting alone for about 5-10 minutes, just to make sure everything kind of comes down. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quarts and 3 pints of sauce, and I think they're all going to fit. If they don't, I'm going to be sad. Let me rearrange. There we go. All right, I'm going to add some more water. If you don't have a pot filler, this is amazing when you're doing big things of pots of things like pasta or canning or anything you need a big pot of water. Alrighty. Like I said, we're going to let this go. Once it comes to a boil, we will turn our timer on for 35 minutes and we'll be back. All right, we got 5 quarts of the spaghetti sauce and 3 pints. One of my quarts did not seal. I know this because you can hear that popping, and when I took the ring off, the lid came off. When you have a seal that's proper, when you hold it by the lid, it will not come off. The ring is not on this jar. This is just the lid holding it tight, and you can pick them up by the lid. So I've washed these off with some soap and lukewarm water. I'm going to mark the tops that it's spaghetti sauce and it was January 2025. If you don't want to can this, you can also freeze in these little deli containers. I will leave these linked in the description box. I freeze plenty of things in these. Freezes nicely. You can thaw it easily this way. You just have to remember to thaw ahead of time. So I hope you enjoyed this. I will leave my canning and food preservation playlist linked over here, and then on this side I will have my logo that you can click on and subscribe if you want to follow along and enjoy much more canning. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.